So when I spoke to you last time, it was before the movie came out.
Right.
And I think everyone was quietly confident you had a winner. I knew how great the movie was, but you never know if audiences are going to, like, actually come.
Yeah, it's too bad we couldn't get anyone to go see it. But we're hopeful it'll find a place on home video and really sort of grassroots campaign for the next couple of years.
100%. One of the things about the movie that everyone praises is the story and the script. When you spend so much time developing something and writing something and you hope people are going to come out, what has it been like for you with the audience and critical response for the film?
We've really sailed under a lucky star on this one. Like, it really feels that way. And I'm just enjoying it, quite honestly, because movie making is so hard. There's so many things that can go wrong. At every step of the way, I keep describing it as alchemy, and you're just throwing these things in and hoping for gold. And on this one, everything came together, so we're just enjoying it.
When you look back on it now, it's always easy. When you're writing something, it's hard to see the mistake you made or a thing you wish you would have done. When you look back on The Martian now, is there something that still plagues you in terms of, fuck, I really wish that scene was blank?
I'm sure there is, but I've learned not to answer that, because sometimes what bothers me is somebody else's favorite thing. You know, like, that just happens. Sure. Especially when you're collaborating. You know, like, I may have disagreed with Ridley about something, and then I'm wrong. Like, that's what happens, you know? And I'm always happy to be wrong. And so there's something, especially in our culture, if I say it, that I didn't like this thing, it'll get put on Wikipedia and reported, you know? And then that's no fair. It's not fair to the movie itself, you know? If I had a, you know, so I've learned to sort of keep my mouth shut.
You're saying the internet remembers things.
It's weird how that works.
It is, yes, I would agree. When I spoke to you last time, I said very, I think succinctly, what do I need to do to have you behind the camera again soon?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask again.
Yes.
What do I need to do to get you behind the camera again soon?
Just keep me writing.
Sure.
It's all on me. It's all my own damn fault. I gotta get scripts done.
Right. So where are we in the most recent script?
I don't know. I'm probably a good 2-3 months away.
Was this the same thing you were working on?
Yeah.
Okay. So
it's taking longer.
Well, you know why? Because you have to do the publicity circuit because The Martian was so well reviewed and received.
And I'm trying to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to enjoy it. It's fun. I got to go to China for the premiere. It's fun to go to these different places and see this movie connect around the world. Like, that doesn't happen every day. I know enough to know this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. So I'm trying to make the most of it.
I definitely want to ask about China. It was actually on my agenda to talk about because China plays a hugely important role in the film. It's a plot point that feels natural.
Yes.
But I would imagine in China, they are very excited about this film. What was it like being there, and what was the reaction like for the film?
It was wonderful, and I had never been to China. And it was fun to just see. I don't know, in my mind, it seems so far away. It seems like the other side of the world, and you'd think it's going to be an entirely different, planet almost. And then to just be there and hear them connect the same way American audiences connect, and you realize, like, oh, there's something special about this movie and this Martian journey, to see it connect all around the world. I don't know, it's special, for sure.
I got to go to Korea recently, like a month or two ago, and I'm not tall, and I was near the tall end of the scale walking around. You are very tall.
Yeah. What
is it like for you in China?
I think Yao Ming screwed it up for all of us because we're all shorter than Yao. So, and he's so beloved that I'd walk in and be like, well, he's no Yao.
I was kidding with the tallness, but I would imagine, anyway.
No, it's a lot when you're outdoors a lot, it's not like I'm bumping my head on anything. It was fun.
Sure. I have a few other questions. Like, we're doing a series called Film 101, and I want to talk about it with you, but I would be remiss if I don't actually ask you. I love the first season of Daredevil. I love Jessica Jones. It seems like what you guys the Netflix thing with Marvel has been tremendous.
Yeah.
A tremendous opportunity, and it's been delivered. Jessica Jones really pushed the boundary of what a lot of us were surprised to see.
Yeah.
And I guess I have to ask you, how does Punisher Season 2 possibly push the boundary, or does it ride? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's funny we talk about this a lot. We try never to make pushing the boundary the goal, if that makes sense. You just do what's right for the character. I think what's nice about Netflix is we have the freedom to be a little more adult. But it's not like none of us sit in the writer's room and say, let's shock everyone today. That's not really the goal. It's more about what's the character going through. Obviously, these characters, Frank, deal with, darker, dirtier things. So we'll see what happens there. But it's never where we start. We start with character. And if we're allowed to push it, then we do. But
yeah, I heard that the footage that was shown at the Brazil Comic-Con experience over the weekend went over very well. I guess you guys they showed Daredevil and Punisher fighting for the first time.
Oh, that's good to hear.
So,
I actually have not seen that. I didn't see what they showed.
Yeah, I guess they showed some of that, which is a huge surprise that they would fight in the season. I'm really surprised that those two would get together.
Yeah, it's strange.
Right, I never saw that.
You think they'd be picking out curtains together?
Yeah, exactly. So we've been doing this series called Film 101, which is basically for people to sort of talk about like being a screenwriter and the behind the scenes, if you will. And we're doing this with a lot of different below the line titles, but screenwriters, everybody. So what is the biggest misconception about what you do?
That's a good question. I think it's that the screenwriter's only job is writing the script, if that makes sense. I like to tell, especially new screenwriters, half your job is writing a script, and the other half of your job is getting bills through Congress. And it's a skill set. If you want to just be a writer, write novels. Like if you just want to sit in your room and write. Screenwriting is very much collaboration, and if you don't want to do that, and the truth is, I didn't really want to do that. When I was a kid, I was very introverted, and I think I came to writing because I was introverted, and so you have to sort of learn, oh no, it's collaboration too, and you have to sell it. You have to listen to actors, you have to listen to directors, you have to listen to the studio, you have to talk through what's important, and you have to protect the script more than anything. That's half your job. You spend more time doing that than you do actually thinking of the story and the dialogue.
What was your collaboration like with Ridley Scott on The Martian? Which is like the sort of, the question is, what is your collaboration process like with a director? And I'm going to use The Martian as the example on this one.
It's different every time because it's all
yeah.
about personality and how a director likes to work. I had met Ridley several times. We'd always been looking for something to work together on. So we sort of had a good feel for each other's personalities, I think. And with The Martian, because I had developed it for myself, Ridley didn't develop it with me. The script was sort of done when it got to Ridley. He wasn't around for the sort of those initial sessions, which was different, and I think that's not usually how Ridley likes to work either. But because we sort of got it to a place where we thought it was pretty close to being shootable when we sent it to him, because usually we'd probably just send Ridley the book, and then he and I would sit down together and talk about what we wanted to shoot. In this case, the script was done, and we gave it to him, and he really responded to it. And so at that point, it's mostly he tells me what, from a production point of view, he wants to do, and I listen. That's really it. He'd say, oh, I don't know about this scene. This is going to be hard to shoot. Can it be X, Y, or Z? And then I would write exactly what he would say.
Sure. Can you compare two directors you've worked with that have different tendencies?
Okay. Yes. Let me think. Well, Ridley is very much. He really looks to have fun. That's the thing I don't know that people quite understand about Ridley is that he's an enthusiast and he likes to make sets fun. Everyone works really hard, but I always had this sort of scary taskmaster vibe of Ridley, and it's much more he's hosting a movie that happens to be going on around him, and it's a very delightful space. Well, now I can't compare anybody else to that because
everyone else.
Which is not true. Actually, I work with. I don't know. I screwed that question up, Steve. I got. That's it. That's all I got. Because I've been really lucky that I haven't worked with any jerks. Everyone I've worked with has had wonderful sets.
Are there other film departments that you have to collaborate with?
Yeah, I mean, look, every director is different in terms of what they want, and I'm always happy. I think because I've got to work on so many different things, I'm always happy to work as little or as much as a director wants me to with departments. If they want me there to talk to people, and I want to be there as a resource, but I'm also happy to just hide in the corner. So it really just depends on the movie, you know. With The Martian, Ridley's, you know, he's in charge. He sort of did all of that, and I just stood there to answer questions when needed. But it's the Ridley show.
What is the hardest part of your job and the most rewarding?
The hardest part is when I know a scene is wrong or a story is wrong, like it's not good enough yet, but I don't know how to fix it. That's the hardest part of the job. That's when I'm at my most miserable as a screenwriter, because I know it's not good, you know? It's that you'll write something and you know that you've written something badly, but you don't quite know how to fix it. It's miserable because it's your fault and you don't know how to get yourself out of it. And then the corollary to that is when you finally figure out how to fix it, that is the most rewarding part of the job. It's a yin and yang.
When did you decide that you wanted to be a screenwriter?
Yeah, boy, it wasn't until college. Because this sounds naive, I didn't know screenwriting was a job. I didn't know it. I grew up very isolated in New Mexico, and we didn't understand the film business. Like, it just wasn't part of what, you know, the town knew. And so I just didn't know. I knew books. I thought I was going to be a novelist because I understood books. I could see it. I could hold it in my hand, but I didn't understand that there was a job called screenwriter. And so it wasn't until I got to college that I learned that screenwriting was a job. And I said, oh, that sounds like a good way to pay the bills.
What did you have to do to train for the job?
Read. That's the part that people don't quite get. A lot of writers, people come to me and say they want to be a screenwriter. And I say, okay, what are you reading? And they don't have an answer to that. And I say that your first bit of homework is to read everything you can get your hands on. I started as a PA, and one of the best things I had to do was just read hundreds and hundreds of scripts. And when you do that, you really start to understand the language of screenwriting, because it's very different than any other kind of writing.
How did you break into the industry?
A lot of help. I mean, I started as a production assistant, and so I broke in because other writers helped me. You know, I tried to help them. I got them coffee. I fixed their computer problems. You know, you try to be helpful, and then if you build up enough people liking you, then you can call in favors, and that's what I did.
What are some of the artisans in your field who are some of the artisans in your field that you admire?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, there's so many. Whose scripts do I love these days? I mean, I always love John Logan scripts. Whenever I get a John Logan script, it delights me. I think he's spectacular. Whedon was the guy that I looked up to more than anyone as a screenwriter, and so I really got lucky when I got in his fold. Tarantino, you know, my list is boring because it's probably like everyone else's list, but there's a reason those guys are so celebrated. They're the most talented ones.
It's like saying everyone says Scorsese for a reason.
Yes, I think that's right.
How has your process changed throughout your career?
It actually stayed pretty remarkably similar. I think I'm a creature of habit, and so I tend to do the same thing on every movie. It's the same approach, the same notebooks, the same type of pens. Like I think screenwriters in general are a superstitious breed, and I certainly am. I feel like if I switch pens, the script will be bad, so I don't.
What's the best advice you ever got about being a screenwriter?
My friend Michael McCullers was a screenwriter. He's a screenwriter, wonderful screenwriter. He wrote the Austin Powers movies, among other things. And he told me, and this was very important during The Martian. He told me that whatever you're working on in Hollywood, at any given moment, you will read about 3 other projects that sound exactly the same. So if you're working on the most preposterous concept, let's say clown battle tournament movie, and you think, well, no one's going to be making a clown battle tournament movie, and you will open up Variety and see Sony commissions clown battle tournament movie tomorrow. If you let that stop you, because your first instinct is to say, well, I should stop my project, you'll never get anything done because it happens over and over and over and over. And it's the best piece of advice I've ever gotten because it happens every single project I'm working on.
My last thing for you. Is there a day or two you will always remember from making The Martian?
Oh, yeah. There was the day when we found out Fox was greenlighting the movie, I got to call Andy Weir, the book's author, and say, your life is about to change. Because he was still doing his day job. And it's fun. Like, it's fun. I think in Hollywood we can lose sight of that, the special moments. You start to take them for granted, how sort of lucky we are to get to do this. So when someone new comes in, it reminds you, oh no, this is really exciting. And to just sort of hear his voice when he said, when we said, they're making a movie out of your labor of love, this thing that you've been working on for 3 years. It was special.
Thank you so much for your time.
Always a pleasure.
Congratulations again on this movie.
Absolutely.
Let me hit start.